So I'm continuing to react slash analyze the house and cerulean scene, and I'm just gonna jump into my annotations. Let me get those. So, as we know, as we know from the synopsis, that he is summoned to extreme upper management. Uh, First of all, when he is summoned, it is very illustrative, if, just for lack of a better word. There's a lot of imagery going on that makes you, or at least me, makes me feel like I'm the one walking up to extreme upper management. But there's this part in the book um, that he sees a fountain. Linus, the main character, sees a fountain, and I wrote it down. The fountain is a man stretching out his hands, and to me, in my mind, I envisioned it like this, or further along, looking up. So it would be kind of like this, while kids clutched at his legs, and the kids, or the man with his hands up is spewing water, and the kids are being splashed by the water. And to me, this symbolism, I interpreted it in two ways. It could be seen as superiority over magical kids, the kids begging for help but receiving very little, if any. Or the second way that it could be interpreted, can't pronounce that word tonight, as normal people fearing the kids, trying to get away from them, or eradicating them by treating them as sub-low class. And these two ways that I was interpreting the statue, even though I know nothing about how upper management works, or even uh, the department in charge of magical youth or adults, how they function, what it is they actually do. I don't know any of that. This is just me, you could say, grasping at straws and trying to draw my own conclusion from it. With the metaphor that this statue represents, and it actually reminded me of Harry Potter. I forget which movie it was. I think it was Deathly Hallows, maybe? It reminded me of when there's that statue of a wizard and muggles under his feet, or under their feet, I can't remember. I won't even reference the books because I can't remember. It's been over a decade since I read the books. But that's what it reminded me of. So that's why I interpreted it that way. So he's been questioned by upper management, and there's this phrase that he says that being attached to the kids could color my perception. Um, and this is part of the rules. You can't get attached to the kids. You're just a social worker there to observe if the kids are in a good environment or a bad environment, or whether they're being harmed. That's as far as I know. But this quote that he said, being attached could, and it's not even a direct quote, I'm paraphrasing, that being attached to the kids could color my perception. I interpreted it as extreme upper management preferring employees to be job only minded, and see the world as black and white. So extreme upper management would prefer that their employees stick to the handbook, stick to the rules, and not let them think out of the box. If you're an employee that thinks out of the box, you're discarded. You're not needed, because that's not what extreme upper management wants. Okay. In that same scene, I learned that it was my question from last time. Are all kids magical? Turns out, no. There's normal kids, and they should separate the normal kids from the magical kids. And Linus agrees to this, because as a social worker, you should agree to this in this scenario. But he also believes that all children should be protected. And they decided, just like the synopsis said, to give him this case. And this is off my perception and my perception only. They chose him for a classified case because he's the perfect puppet that doesn't stray away from their path, and doesn't think outside the box, and can be perceived as gullible. And also because he's alone. He has nobody but his stupid ass cat. Which I'm kind of about the cat. Like, I have mixed emotions. Because at first, yeah, the cat's an asshole, but then I see that later on, that there's something about that cat that is like, okay, Linus, I don't like you, but I don't dislike you. That's what I get from the cat. I don't know. Or it could be, I don't like you, but nobody else can harm you but me. Maybe. Oh, and I wrote down, neighbor is annoying as fuck. This neighbor, she continues to deflect her own issues onto Linus. That's what I'm perceiving from this character. And I wrote down a question. How long has he endured her harassment? I can't imagine how long he has had to deal with this neighbor on a daily basis. It sucks for him. And she's just continuing on harassing him, and it's not a great neighbor to have. It's the most annoying type of neighbor that you could have somebody that harasses you for no damn reason. You're not doing anything to them, and this neighbor is just attacking you. Most people, well, I'm not even gonna say most people because I don't know if that's the case. A lot of people would stand up for themselves. Linus is just like, I'm over it, I'm done. You could say what you want, and just keep yapping away. And right after that, I wrote down, obviously a heavy smoker, wishing somebody else's death with this annoyed, I put an annoyed face. Don't know if you could see that right there. Annoyed face. And she makes a comment about him passing or going to pass. And she's wishing that he dies. That to me, that's how it read like to me. And I'm like, how the fuck does a person, or is a person able to do that, to wish somebody else harm? And it just doesn't make sense to me, this neighbor. The more I read about her and her scenes, it's like, this bitch has serious issues. She harasses or mocks Linus for being alone, for being himself, for being the way he is, when she herself, as far as I know, she's alone. She has nothing better to do but to wait for Linus to come back home and harass it. That's out what I'm getting from this character, and it is annoying. Now, it could be good for character development for Linus's future. So I'm trying to see this as a silver lining and not give her that much focus. She doesn't need anybody's focus. So then we get to the part where he's about to travel, or he is traveling to his destination. And on the way there, I had not realized this, but I realized it, I just didn't pay attention to it. That where he lives and where he works, it's always raining. And he's always had to travel to different places. But on the ride, there's this specific scene. I wrote down, long rainy ride, always rain where he lives. And it transitions to a colorful landscape and clear sky. I wrote down symbolism and foreshadowing. This is where I was like, something's good gonna happen. He's gonna have such a great time, and he is going to just fully embrace the experience. And it's going to be a good experience for him. And I was just like, oh, this is great. This symbolism is perfect. And so it transitions from opaque to bright color. And right away I remembered the quote I mentioned earlier. I wrote down, reference could color my perception. That his attachment to kids could color his perception. Maybe he's going to have a change of perception or perspective, and this might be something that is helpful for his self-esteem, his mental health, and just his well being overall, it could be a good thing for him. And um, everybody that he's had an interaction with so far ostracizes him. And it comes to a point where a person actually has a positive interaction with him. And I wrote down uh, everything is about to change for him, for Linus, with a little excited uh, face. But then, this is where my roller coaster is like, um, he, or the author, T.J. Klune, he wrote down, it wasn't bad, it was worse. Linus was getting his hopes up, and then right away, next page, it wasn't bad, it was worse, and I put a sad face. And I wrote down how I was feeling and what it could represent for the plot. Um, Going back to the colorful landscape and the clear sky, I wrote down, gave me false hope. I was like, I'm just having an issue. Like, how, TJ, how are you gonna make me feel hopeful that something good's gonna happen to him? And then you're like, "Mm, but it's not. That's just playing with my feelings. That's just playing with Linus. How are you gonna do Linus like that?" But I wrote down, I don't know what awaits for him, but I hope he enjoys himself for once and has good experiences. I truly hope that for him. Even if at the end it's bad for him or something bad happens, I hope that during his stay at the island that he has a good experience for himself. Um, and then there's new characters coming in. So, um, I'll say this. When even after he gets to the island, he continues to be put down. And I wrote down an angry face. He's gonna try to point it out. Oh no, that's the sad face. Angry face. He continues to be put down and blamed for things out of his control. Just fresh off the train. Like, this is where I was like, it's gonna repeat itself. He's gonna continue to be treated badly, being ostracized. It's just gonna continue. And then the new character that is introduced, her name is Miss Chapelwhite. Um, I wrote down, she's free spirited, doesn't care for others' opinions, seems cold and distant, but she actually cares to a point. Um, I won't go into the details, but there's this part where Linus is, I want to say he was in danger. He was in potential danger. And Miss Chapelwhite came in and tried to help the best that she could. So this told me, this is why I wrote down, she actually cares to a point. Um, I wrote down, Ms. Chapelwhite advocates for the kids' safety and protection, doesn't believe that the kids are dangerous. Kids are kids, and nothing can justify an injustice for them. That's what she believes in. And um, it kind of joins to what Linus believes in. He does say children should be treated the same. Children should be protected for. And I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of magic throughout this adventure, so I'll just say this. Like, my first impression of Miss White, apart from what I just read, was maybe she's magical. No, I'm pretty sure she's magical. And just the way Linus is, he's very observant, very analytical, and he he identifies her as a certain type of magical being. And Linus believes that this is why extreme upper management chose him, because he's very observant, very thorough, and um, very analytical. He really thinks that. I don't think that. I think they're just using him as a puppet. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna read that because that could be seen as a spoiler. Uh, in the previous video, I believe I mentioned that maybe the department in charge of magical youth, as they grow older, as the magical kids grow older, they're treated more like criminals. And just from context, it seems to be that way, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm just basing it off what is written. And I wrote down Chapel White is naturally gifted with sarcasm, and I'm here for it. I love her character. She is very sarcastic, very opinionated, outgoing, and very sassy. And a lot of people could confuse sassiness for rudeness. It's not rudeness, she's just sassy. And there comes to a point where her sassiness, she just kind of lets her guard down. I feel like her sassiness is a shield to what she can be feeling, or what she actually thinks, or how she interacts with people. I feel like that's where her sarcasm and her sassiness comes in, and she uses it as a defense mechanism. And for a brief moment, she lets her guard down, and she just asks Linus, like, hey, just be open minded. That's all I ask of you. Be open minded. And which I don't know how open minded Linus is, because he's very by the book type of person. And even though he is that way, he does have his own opinions. He just doesn't voice them. Especially when it comes to his profession, he stays professional and does what the job requires him to do without stepping out of line. Oh, and I wrote down, I just talked about that. Linus thinks he was chosen for being analytical and noticing things that others would miss. And again, I don't think he was chosen for that. I mean, I really think it was because he was seen as gullible from the eyes of upper management. And Chapel there's this quote that spoke through my soul, through my essence, through my energy. And I've always said this. So when I read this, of course it was going to resonate with me. And I truly believe this is the case in real society. Our society sees this or acts on this without even realizing it at times. And the quote is, "They fear what they don't understand, and fear turns to hate." And she's talking about just magical beings and the kids, um, which in real life, this happens a lot with different groups. You could be part of a religion, and if you don't understand another religion, well, that lack of, I keep saying understanding because that's what the quote says, but using my own vocabulary. Um, if one religion doesn't understand the other, uh, that lack of understanding turns to fear, and that fear turns to hatred. So this religion will start hating this religion, and back and forth. And it just goes for every religion that exists. Every religion thinks they're the correct ones and can't accept the fact that other people think differently. And this isn't only just religion, it's um, lifestyle. Like, what diet do you eat? People, it used to be just vegetarians, but now there's vegans and um, keto diets and just many different diets that exist now. And people who don't understand why they feed themselves the way they do hate on them. Like, oh, everything has to be vegan now. No, it's not that. It's they're providing um, the food that a person's body needs. That's one thing that I will say. As an individual, we have to know what our body needs. Every body is built different, and for the most part in society, it's treated as if we're all going to eat the same thing. That's why they have the pyramid of food, the food pyramid. Um, Not everybody needs that in their system. Some people are more vegetarian and fruits, and that's enough for them because the protein, magnesium, potassium, and so on, that are in fruits and vegetables are enough for their body. Now, I'm not vegetarian, but I wouldn't say I'm a carnivore either. Um, I wouldn't even say I'm an omnivore. Like, I eat what my body is telling me to eat when it's needed. If my body is telling me you need meat, whether it's because of the protein or because of the iron or other nutrients that come with meat. Um, I'll eat meat. Um, when it comes to fish, I don't like fish at all. I can do sushi. I don't know why, but I can do sushi. But like cooked fish, I can't really eat. But when my body is asking for like omega 3 or all the omega oils and nutrients, my body tells me you need to eat fish, and I'll sit down, eat fish. Don't like the taste of it, but it's what my body is asking me to eat, so I'll eat it. And if my body is needing it, my palate won't even be bothered because my body is saying you do need this, so it's not going to gross you out. I strayed away a little bit from the topic, and basically I was saying that hate comes from fear. Fear comes from misunderstanding or understanding. For me, in my vocabulary, in case you don't know or you haven't heard my podcast, understanding for me is standing under a certain type of information. Whatever that information is, you're understanding it. If you're overstanding it, you know what's going on. If you're under it, you don't know what's going on. And then I have also understanding, which is knowing what that feels like, whatever it is, whatever situation or information you're getting from somebody, you know what that feels like, so you're understanding what they're talking about. And what else did I write? Oh yeah, Lannis's response to what she said about hate. Lannis said, hate is a waste of time. I 100% agree. Hate is a waste of time and it is unnecessary in society. Hate is what divides people. Now, I could go on to how historically hate has been used to divide people, but that would be an even longer video than what this needs to be. But for now, my analysis of the emotional and psychological aspect of it, I'm loving it so far. My analysis may resonate with some of you, and maybe you'll want to read this for yourselves. That's why I'm not giving away spoilers. I'm trying to stay away from spoilers because I'm focusing on the emotional and psychological aspect. And if you like fantasy, if you like fiction, if you like adventure, I would recommend you this book. You know, TJ, you wrote this book. You, if you ever do see this, I don't think you will, but if you ever do see this, you did your thing. This is my first book that I read from you, or by you, and you know how far I'm into the book so far. You did your thing. Clap, clap, clap. Like, I don't even know how to put my words or structure my words because it's so many feelings and thoughts, and I don't know, it just feels like a hug, but then that hug turns into somebody pinching you or pinching you, but then you get hugged again. So what I just described is a toxic relationship. Now, um, am I having a toxic relationship with this book? Maybe. I'm yet to read the rest of it. I have long ways to go. um, but as a book, it it goes through so many things in just a short amount of time, and I'm loving the spectrum. Can't believe I'm actually using the word spectrum for a book. I've never used the word spectrum now that I think about it. I've used it for movies, I've used it for shows, but for books, apart from my own, not going into that, I've never used the word spectrum to describe a book. It's a spectrum of emotions and mental state. The good, the bad, the horrendous, and just how it reflects onto real life. It's a real life situation book with magic. And I'm excited to read the rest of the book. So just stay tuned, and I hope that some of you out there feel, if you decide to read the book, feel just as excited as I do, or even more so. It is a good read. I do recommend it. But until next time, I'll keep you updated. Bye.